Welcome back to a brand new episode of Conference Chatter TV, where I pick every game in the Big 12 this college football season. My name's Eric Sorrentino. I'm the KSports.com Big 12 blogger. Thanks, guys, for joining me again for another week of Big 12 football picks. We're here in Week 9, and for the whole season, I am 54-11 in picking Big 12 games. That's an 83% accuracy rate. Let's try to improve upon that in Week 9 and get right to the picks, because the first one is a big one in the Big 12 North that could decide the division race. We'll start it off. Let's get it going. Number 7, Missouri, at number 14, Nebraska, 2:30 p.m. This is going to be a great game. Missouri at 7-0, the only undefeated team left in the Big 12, and along with Oregon and Michigan State, the only other two teams, along with Missouri, from major conferences that are still unbeaten. So Missouri in some pretty special company there. The Tigers 7-0 for only the third time in team history. They're coming off a huge win against Oklahoma last week. And you look at Nebraska, they're 6-1, a pretty solid year so far, coming off of a shootout victory at Oklahoma State last week. Both teams playing pretty well. This game could very well decide the North champion here and the North representative in the Big 12 championship game. I'm going to stick with my preseason pick, and if you guys remember that, I had Nebraska winning the Big 12 North. I'm taking the Huskers at home here in Lincoln. I'm going to stick with my preseason pick here and taking Nebraska. I take a look at Missouri, and the Tigers have really only played one road game, and that was at Texas A&M, and they played really well, don't get me wrong, but 6 of their 7 wins this season have been at home. So how will they respond in a hostile environment like Lincoln? The other thing, Nebraska, you would think that they match up well on defense against a Missouri team that loves to throw the ball around and spread the field with Blaine Gabbert. The Huskers, 3rd in the country in pass defense. They've been very, very good this year in defending the pass, and so that's going to be key in defending Missouri. On the flip side, this is going to be a great matchup when Nebraska has the ball. Huskers, no secret, they love to run the ball, and Missouri, their defense has been very, very, very underrated. They've given up just over 13 points a game. That's top 5 in the country, and it seems like nobody's been recognizing that Missouri defense. I recognize that Missouri defense for sure, so I think this may be a little bit of a lower scoring game than some people might think. But I'm going to look for Nebraska to win, and you ask, how do you beat this Missouri team that's undefeated this year? I went back and looked at Missouri's games, and in the closest game that they've played this year, it was actually against San Diego State at home on September 18th. They won by 3 points. The Aztecs, how did they almost beat Missouri? Well, they ran the football exceptionally well, 250 yards on the ground against Missouri. I think that's the recipe for success to beat the Tigers. Stick with that run game, and at home, I think Nebraska has a really good chance to do that. And on defense, you take a look at back to San Diego State, they intercepted Blaine Gabbert 2 times. And Gabbert's only been intercepted 3 times all season long. So they really, if I'm Nebraska, I'm going back and I'm watching film of that game, because that was a very close game, a game that San Diego State had won in the 4th quarter. If it wasn't for that long pass to TJ Moe in the final minute of the game, Missouri would have lost that game. So, there's no question that Missouri's played a lot better from that point. When was that? September 18th? They've played a lot better to that point, but Nebraska, I would think, matches up pretty well against Missouri. I'm going to take the Huskers to win at home and finally give Missouri that first loss. But if the Tigers win this game, they have a realistic chance of running the table in the regular season and going undefeated. I don't think there's any question about that, but I'm going to take Nebraska at home. Some other ones here in Week 9. Let's get to number 20, Oklahoma State at Kansas State, 11 a.m. The K-State defense, they just continue to get punished on the ground, and that's why I'm going with Oklahoma State, even on the road here. Kendall Hunter, he had 200 yards rushing last week, so I'm giving him a heavy dosage of carries. If I'm Oklahoma State offensive coordinator Dana Holgorsen, I'm just pounding away with Kendall Hunter in the backfield, because K-State has proven that they just can't stop that many teams on the ground this season. They're 3rd to last in the country in giving up 230 yards rushing per game. So there's your formula for success right there for Oklahoma State. Start with Hunter. That might open up the pass, and of course Justin Blackmon the most prolific wide receiver in the country so far this season. That might open it up for him, but I can see Oklahoma State scoring a lot of points here on Saturday. That's why I'm taking him. Number 25, Baylor at Texas at 6 p.m. Who the heck would have thought that Baylor would be the ranked team coming into Austin against an unranked Texas team? I can't remember the last time that's happened. The Horns have struggled this year. They're 1-2 at home. Those 2 losses at home are the most since 1997, the year before Mac Brown even was head coach in Austin. So this is uncharted territory for UT and Coach Mac Brown. This is a tough game. That said, I'm going to take Texas at home. I think this is kind of my last attempt, in picking UT with any sort of confidence. I just look at this game and Baylor's, I look at Baylor as content, not for the rest of the season, but let's be honest. I mean, they haven't been bowl eligible since 1995, and they just got bowl eligible last week with the victory over K-State. So, and that was really the goal in Baylor this year, let's be honest, to get to a bowl game. They've already, got that invitation, and Texas is not content. That is for darn sure. After an inexcusable loss at home to Iowa State, I think UT's just, if they can't get fired up for this and to get this one at home, I don't know when they'll be able to do it. So I'm going to take Texas here. They have won 13 of 14 against Baylor in the Big 12 era, so I look at them for Texas to make it 14 of 15 here on Saturday. Colorado at number 11, Oklahoma at 8:15 p.m. Really no surprise here. I'm going with OU at home. There's really only 2 stats that you have to even look at when considering this game, and that is that Colorado has lost its past 14 games on the road, and Oklahoma has a 34-game home winning streak, best in the country. That's all you need to know. When you combine these factors, there's no reason OU should lose at home to Colorado, so easy pick the Sooners there. 2 more here, Texas Tech at Texas A&M at 2:30 p.m. I'm reluctantly going with Texas A&M. I despise the 2-quarterback system, though, with Gerard Johnson and Ryan Tannehill. I wish, Coach Sherman would just pick one. I've never been a fan of the dual quarterback system. I just think they're wastes of time, but I've just not been impressed with Texas Tech that much. They had a nice road victory at Colorado last week, but, they haven't been that great, very inconsistent under first-year coach Tommy Tuberville. So I'll take A&M at home. I hope they eventually find a quarterback and stick to it. Last game, Kansas at Iowa State, 1 p.m. I'm going Iowa State. KU, not really sure who its quarterback will be. Jordan Webb suffering a shoulder injury, and Kale Pick with a concussion, so it could be third-string quarterback Quinn Meekum getting the start for KU, and the Jayhawks have been bad enough this game, and I just can't pick them on the road. Going with Iowa State, who really showed up in Austin last week and had a pretty major victory with Paul Rhodes, doing a great job there last week in Austin. So Iowa State in that one. That'll do it for Week 9, guys. A really, really, really exciting weekend, I think. Headlined, of course, by Missouri and Nebraska. So it'll be a great game. Enjoy that one, and enjoy all of the Big 12 games here in Week 9. I will be back this weekend, as usual, to reflect on them. Thanks a lot, guys, and have a good weekend.